Okay, so we're making some progress here on our layout. We're laying out some buildings, planting some trees, and so this is coming along. Now, on this end of the layout, what we intend to do is put, some elevated feature here, right in the middle there. Maybe not quite a mountain, but some kind of a hill with some foliage in it. And this is going to be kind of our wildernessy area, I guess. And so what we wanted to do in this area here is also put in some buildings that would be appropriate to kind of the wilderness area. So we are going to attempt to 3D print some cabins, and we're going to put them in that corner over there and the corner over there. Now, they won't be completely landscaped and whatnot at the beginning because we still have a lot of work to do over here, but we'll print the cabins and we'll place them over there, and we'll see how they look, and then we'll kind of bury them in foliage as time goes by. So so that's going to be our latest project, is to print some cabins to throw over in our kind of rural wildernessy area, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, with the printing done, here's what we came up with. We decided that we were gonna print 2 cabins that were similar. These kind of one-room cabins here. So we've got a roof that we did in matte green. The print came with a base, and the print came with 4 walls. So we made 2 of those. There's one here, and then one here, same cabin. And then over here, we printed a different style of cabin that has a little portico or porch out, a little front room. And so, that has that, and then it's got these 2 little pillars here that, form like a little covering here, a front porch on the front. So the interesting thing here is that we wanted to try a variety of printing to see what worked out. So it worked out best. So we printed this one here in its individual pieces. So again, the base and the four walls. We were a little worried about adhesion, so we decided for these first two prints not to do, the whole complete walls in case we lost the print. But then on our third print over here, we decided we would try that. We would try it with, the walls standing up, and it printed with the base. So the base is attached to those walls, and that actually had really good adhesion. So that's, so if we ever did this again, we would do it with the four walls kind of pre-built. But for these walls here, we're going to have to glue the walls together. And so what you'll notice here as we look at this is that, like on a model, usually you would have like the slots or something to kind of indicate where the four walls come together. These ones here, if you can see, this has the little post sticking out there. So that's kind of the corner post, and so each wall has a post and a side with no post. So we'll have to line those up so that all four corners have a post and hold those together. So the funny thing is, we tried to kind of put these together with elastics and hold them in a square. We do that with the Pico models, the G-scale models. That works quite well. But again, because these sides have nothing to kind of grip each corner, like a big model would have, it just fell apart too easily. So what we did was we bought, let me grab one of these. We've seen them on Amazon before or on videos before, but these corner magnets which will hold the structure together. You'll hold it nice and square. These are kind of square corner clamps, and they're magnetic, so they'll actually hold through the plastic, which is kind of cool. So we're looking forward to that. Trying that out. We just got these today, and then doing some research to figure out what the best glue to use for PLA is. That's the material that we used on the printer. Super glue was really the glue that kept coming up as good glue for PLA. So we bought a couple different types here. Maybe we'll try out both types. On a regular G-scale model, we'd use the Pico ones out on the Garden Railroad. We'd use a glue called Pico Fix, which is designed for kind of welding plastic together and withstanding the elements outside. But yeah, they didn't mention that, so they mentioned super glue, so we picked some up and we'll do that. So our next step is to glue the four sides together and then glue them to the bases. This one's already done, obviously, and then the last step will be to glue the roof to the structure. So let's go ahead and clamp up some sides, and let's do some gluing. Okay, so what he was doing there was making some final adjustments here, making sure that there was a post on each side and that the end of the wall that doesn't have the post is against the post and not overlapping the post. And then once it's all said and done, just make sure everything is nice and flat to the table. And then what we'll do is we'll take our super glue and just glue right up on the inside of the seams there. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is we've got our Gorilla super glue and just twist it off there. When you put this on, we already got it started here. You twist this into the container and that pops the little cover that's on there. And then you actually use these side things to pump it. And and that gets the glue out. And the Loctite super glue works the same way. So anyway, what we're going to do here is just put some super glue right down the inside seams here, and that'll be good because you won't see it from the opposite side. And we don't really need to be super neat here, but when we glue, we just want to make sure that everything is sitting nice and flat. And of course we want to make sure that we try to keep the glue off of our new clamps, but the clamps have little openings on the inside so that it accommodates any kind of structure that might be in those corners, like those posts right there, so that it still sits flat. So any glue runoff will just go right down onto the paper towel. So we'll go ahead and we'll let that set, and then we'll glue it to the base. Okay, so with the glue dried, the next step will be to take the walls and to put them on the base. So we'll just release these clamps here. They actually grab pretty good. And then one thing we also did after we glued this up is that we actually reinforced, the clamps are at the bottom of the walls, and they did hold pretty good, but just as some insurance, we put some elastics around the upper walls there, and I'll show you what we did with that. Just get these. Yeah, so as you can see here, we with the magnets off, we reinforced the top here with just some elastic bands, and they actually work as pretty good supplemental clamps actually. And we use this technique, as I said, on our Pico buildings. So the next thing is to glue it to the base, which we'll do right here. Then what we want to do is make sure that we have the right side facing up. So there's the orientation of the door. And we'll put the model right on the base. And then what we'll do here is we'll just go ahead and we'll run a little seam of glue on the inside, along the bottom. We'll turn as we go. We'll have to reset this. We'll just get the glue where we want it in the seams here. Turn. Finally, in front here. Face in front. Sitting there nice. Maybe a little dabbing to do there. And then the last step will be to glue the roof onto the top. So what we'll do here is we'll run a bead of glue on the top. Not too heavy. And if you can, put it on the inside of that seam there, so if you do get any runoff, it runs inside, not outside. But this roof has an overhang to it, so hopefully you won't be able to see it anyway. So we'll set that down on top there. Make sure it looks so roughly the same distance front and center. This print didn't allow for too much overhang, but that's something that's correctable on the 3D printer. If we were to print this again, I might make that roof just a little bit longer, just the roof section. And get a little overhang on each side. As it was, this print was meant for the default print download was sized to N scale. So we actually scaled it up to the HO scale. And then what we'll do here, we'll set that off to the side. And then we'll take this one. And this will just go ahead and glue the roof on. Remember, this is all one piece. That little hole in the middle, by the way, that's good for if you want to put a light up in here from below on your railroad. That there's a nice hole just kind of built into the print. These little squeeze bottles are nice because you control the flow, right, with those little side things there. And we'll go ahead and throw our roof on here. Look from above and make sure that it's square here to the bottom, because we have to still glue these little columns down here, which we'll do. We'll let this roof set a bit, and then we'll do that. But yeah, I think our cabins are in pretty good shape here, so we'll let that set. And we'll put the second one together, and we'll look at all three of them as a set. Okay, so that is our HO scale cabin print project. So these are the first buildings that we've printed with our 3D printer. So I would almost consider these prototypes. We'll try to perfect our technique as best we can, and we'll probably reprint these. Now, the two cabins on the ends, the single room cabins without the portico, those were N scale. The 3D file was set to N scale, so we had to scale those up to HO scale. And in retrospect, they are a little bigger than the cabin in the middle with the portico. That one was an actual HO scale 3D print file, so we didn't have to scale that. That printed well, right? Right as without having to adjust the sizes. So I think we would probably reprint those two cabins on the end and then scale them down slightly from what we have. We actually just doubled the percentage to scale them up to HO. So we would probably do that. This another lesson learned here is having the courage, I guess, for lack of a better term, to print the cabin with the walls and the base as one unit. The first two cabins there, the two single room cabins on the end, when we printed those, we printed all the walls separate, as you saw, from earlier, and the base separate, and then we glued them. We had to glue all the walls together and so forth. Not a particularly difficult thing, but I think we would probably print those as one, complete unit. The adhesion on the table was fine. They printed fine. You can see the one in the middle printed fine. So I think we would just do that. And then the second lesson learned here was that even though we scaled up the walls and the base and the roof to the same percentage on the cabins on the end, the roofs aren't quite wide enough. So I think if we were to print these, we would probably extend the dimensions of the roof lengthwise a little longer, so there's a little overhang on the on the ends. So yeah, otherwise though, I think we're pretty satisfied with these cabins as a first print. We'll use them on the railroad. The portico one in the middle, that's definitely a keeper. The two ones on the end, I think we could probably do a better job on those. So we'll use them for now, but we'll eventually get to printing a second copy of those. Like I said, we'll scale them down, maybe make the roof a little longer so it covers the sides better. And we'll certainly do a better job gluing, I think. So yeah, so that's it. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video.